not bogey. I'm not bogey.
So
Just wanted to point out. Hi, welcome to Bogey and Dave. And just as I was telling my partner here, I was in the market today and I was referred to, hey, you're bogey. No, I'm not bogey. That's bogey. I'm Dave, okay? Even though his name's, in the lead spot, he's still the second in command.
They want me everywhere.
They want you everywhere. I'm not bogey.
Is that
okay?
all right?
Yeah. Anyways, welcome to the show. We have a few things to talk about, and you know what? We're passionate about what we feel, okay? And I want to remind people that I spoke to you on the show a couple, I guess maybe last episode or the episode before that, about what I've been going through to get a handicap parking sticker. And the only reason why I need it is because I recently had spinal surgery, okay? And it's
Doesn't
difficult.
He look great for spinal surgery?
Fantastic.
For a guy who's coming
I
out
probably
spinal
should have had a facelift, maybe a hair transplant, whatever. But I chose spinal surgery. Well, I was told after waiting and waiting and waiting that it's a 4 to 6 week waiting period. Well, here it is, going on almost 3 months. So I called up and I said, what's the holdup? And they said, listen, sir, there are 5 of us handling it for the whole state of Massachusetts. That's pretty ridiculous, okay? I said, wouldn't it be better if this was handled by our local town hall and, let them handle it since obviously you're overwhelmed by it? Yeah, I wish you would tell our superiors that. I said, well, how do I get in touch with your superior? Well, no, they don't want to go there. But anyway, can you imagine if you got caught parking in a handicap area, okay? You would be towed, you would be ridiculed, you'd pay a huge hefty fine, plus storage of your car and the towing and everything else. And here they make somebody wait almost 3 months to get that sticker.
But I bet a politician only has to wait a week.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings us into, that's why I want to see a politician getting in, because I think our system is so broken from towns, cities, to the states, to the federal government. It is completely a mess. Okay?
So that equates,
and I don't know if it works better in other states.
That equates to the entire nation being broken,
yeah,
right?
It's broken. It's not, is it fixable? Yeah, it is. But you're never going to get somebody in, Neil, that's going to take the initiative to fix it, which brings us to, that's why they fear a Ted Cruz, a Donald Trump, and even a Bernie Sanders. Because those guys are going to make some significant changes, And who's really fearful right now? There's this group out there. I want you to elaborate. The Davos group.
The Davos group, which is the group of billionaires. Yeah. Not million, billionaires.
Did you see my name on that list?
No.
That's okay.
No.
I'm missing a comma. That's all I'm missing is one comma.
Your name was listed under aspirants, aspiring billionaires.
Yeah.
And it said you would buy a canoe for everybody.
Exactly.
So they can paddle their way
right
through
down
all
the
of
river.
the crap, right? But no.
Spell it. D-A-V-O-S.
D-A-V is in Victor, O-S.
Right, the
Sam.
Davos group.
It's a group of billionaires, and there was an article in Bloomberg Business today that suggested that this group is very nervous about Trump getting in because, quote unquote, he would be a disaster for the trade deals. But this writer, I think his last name was Banks, the writer who wrote this article, who also interviewed Eric Cantor, who lost his election, right? Cantor also said, yes, Trump would be a disaster for these deals. Well, of course he's going to be a disaster for the deals if the existing deals are favoring the billionaires, right? If they're built to favor a few instead of the many, i.e. jobs here at home.
Right.
So the Davos group is naturally going to sound off. And I'm surprised that this writer, one of the big pitfalls of writing, one of the big no-nos, if you're going to be a journalist, you need to put in at least 1 or 2 sentences for the opposition. You need to have a balanced view.
That's if you're a journalist.
Well, this is Bloomberg Business.
Yeah, okay. We're not talking editorializing.
This article was predominantly just interviewing people who think Trump's going to be a disaster for trade. Now, again, I'm not endorsing Trump here. However, these people are fearful maybe because Trump keeps saying, we keep making bad deals. He keeps saying that. And I got to agree with him.
Yeah.
Going all the way back to NAFTA. And you have people who are actually saying, well, I was involved in NAFTA. If you were involved with NAFTA, you should shut your mouth.
Right.
Because it took jobs away from Americans.
That was the sucking noise that Ross Perot warned us about. All those jobs.
And he was right.
Yeah, going
And
overseas.
Ross Perot.
But you know what Trump wants to do about hitting these surcharges on anything from China? That ultimately is going to affect the people that buy the goods because it's going to raise the price. That's not how you solve that problem. I like to see Trump get in. I'd even go so far as to say Bernie Sanders. I want to see somebody
different
look at it and make some significant changes in our government because it's a disaster. You know, we're just wasting.
But there are people who still
money.
think that everything's fine and dandy with the way it is.
Because they're making
fine.
millions.
What blows my mind to smithereens is that people are okay with paying a tax if they don't have health care.
Yeah, they're okay with it.
I don't understand how they're okay with that. It still boggles my mind that Obamacare got passed.
Right.
It still boggles my mind that the Supreme Court ruled it's okay
It didn't get passed. It got shoved down our throats.
it's okay to take choice away from Americans.
Right.
And Obama, his administration realized people were foregoing the health care, saying, hey, screw you, I still don't want it, I'll pay the $300 fine. So what did he do this year? He doubled the fine. Now it's over $600 to not have health insurance.
Right. The idiots in California that reelected Nancy Pelosi after she used the statement, well, we have to vote it in first and then we'll take a look at it. Would they live their lives that way? Would they apply that philosophy to anything they buy? Of course not. But yet, those morons in California, and it's the way I feel about them, they keep on reelecting this idiot to office. And it's the same thing with the rest of the country. These people are put in office, and you know what? They're going to shove something down our throat because it doesn't affect them. That health care plan didn't affect those people in Congress. And
they still have their private plans.
That's exactly right.
And as a result of Obamacare, doctors are now forming pay-to-play groups. Did you know this? I talked about it.
Yes, you did talk about it
a few months ago.
Right, exactly.
They're pay-to-play groups. They're private clubs that doctors have formed.
Right.
That, okay, if you pay a membership plus surcharge,
you get my services.
You get my services.
Right. Right.
So that.
But who can afford that?
That's what happens in banana republics.
Right.
This is what Obamacare has created. So all you people are saying, yeah, but now everyone has health care.
No, everyone doesn't.
They don't.
They don't. They don't. Only a few million people.
If the quality of care goes down,
right,
and the price that was previously promised goes up,
right,
that doesn't mean everyone has A, quality care, B, sufficient care, or C, care at all.
You come from the state of Rhode Island. What did that empty suit, Jack Reed, ever do for the state of Rhode Island? Look at the state of the state of Rhode Island. It's in serious trouble, and he's done nothing. Yet they reelect him, and they reelect the other what's his name, the congressman who allegedly left the city of Providence in an absolute shambles. Cicilline. I mean, and look and people look up to the guys like, oh God, the other former mayor. They gave him a radio show.
Yeah, I will credit.
He ruined Providence. Then he went on the radio. All of his programs that he put in place, he's criticizing Cianci, and they put him on the radio.
Yeah, well, listen, I will say that purportedly, Senator Whitehouse. Senator Whitehouse voted against the TPP bill.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Okay. Yeah, supposedly.
So, I read that he did.
Okay.
He said he did. Mm-hmm. So that's a plus, I think. It takes some guts to stand up to your own party like that, and But shifting gears a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd like to get into something that's more
positive.
Well, more mysterious, more intriguing.
Okay.
And more interesting. There's, right now, for the next 30 days, there's a planetary alignment. 5 planets are aligned. 5 of them in our sky right now.
That is...
Simultaneous to that.
Right.
They just discovered... Now, when I say the word new, they're calling it new.
Right.
You know NASA sees things coming way before, okay? They've been talking about the formation of a new world, a new planet. When I say new world, they haven't been using the word world. Spiritualists have been using the word world.
Yeah.
They have discovered a new planet behind Pluto. Now, that has been talked about in underground media and underground websites for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, talking about the incoming of a new planet. Because then the questions become, does this planet have a sun? Does this planet have its own solar system? Does this planet have its own moon and stars? Because if it does, now we're going to have a competing sun. And many people have theorized that one day we're going to have 2 suns in the sky. And one's going to burn out, ours. So this gives birth to a host of what-ifs, of possibilities, of wonderments, of could this be?
When you
There's
say
a lot of change going on right now. My point is this.
Yeah.
A new planet, what people don't talk about, is that it also brings new energy. It also brings competing energy. This fresh energy, you never know what else is behind it.
But when you say behind Pluto, like behind Pluto by, like right behind Pluto,
Right.
or like,
Right behind Pluto.
and they've
Well,
discovered
they're
it?
saying they just discovered it. An amateur, quote unquote.
Forums.
No. An amateur stargazer, basically, found it.
Okay.
And you know, it's
Because they've been arguing now whether or not to continue to call Pluto a planet. You know that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now they're back to calling Pluto Pluto, because suddenly they weren't calling Pluto Pluto.
Right. There was yeah.
It was just a gaseous substance. It's no longer. And then they said, oh yeah, well, it's back. Pluto is there. And now they're saying there's something behind Pluto. So you see, I believe there's a mass cover-up going on. Okay, and I'm going to throw this term out there. Alien intelligence. I believe there's what we call alien intelligence is not so alien to the people in higher ups who know what's been going on. This goes back to Area 51, in which they said it didn't exist for decades. And then 3 or 4 years ago, the U.S. Air Force came out and said, oh, by the way, it does exist. So all those people we made to look like fools, and we bankrupted, and we humiliated because they were trying to blow the whistle on Area 51. Actually, they were right. The minority were right, and it does exist.
Yeah.
So now here we are again. We have the underground websites for years have been saying alien intelligence, aliens are out there. We have astronauts coming forward and saying yes. We have military generals coming forward and saying that they were shutting off the switches on nuke tests in deep space. Alien intelligence were inexplicably shutting down nuke electrical boards. Governments were trying to test the nukes, they couldn't do it. You had generals and colonels march into and onto Larry King's show about 10 years ago, or 9 years ago, and they said, it's true. They shut down the controls. We were all set to hit the button, it was gone. The button didn't work. So that tells you everything's energy. They have the power, alien intelligence, higher intelligence has the power to intercept mechanical and electrical grids that we have not yet been able to discover the power to do that.
Did you ever see the movie Contact?
Yeah.
Okay. It was
With Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster. Very interesting movie. I mean, if you haven't seen this movie, I suggest you do watch it, because it really was unique, you know? And I find movies like that cause you to think, whether, you know, when you leave the theater, you start to really give some deep thought to what you just saw. That movie really had something to say, you know? And, you know, we're limited, I think, in our thinking, in how we think. Stephen Hawking just recently came out and said that science is going to kill us. He made that statement.
Yeah,
okay?
Artificial intelligence,
It's
science.
going to kill us.
Well, listen, robots are replacing human jobs. It's been estimated that 20% of the workforce is going to be eliminated because of robots.
See, when people think of robots,
That's a crisis.
They think of a mechanical man or woman that looks like you or myself. No, it is. There are robots.
Robotic arms.
Right. I worked at a
Assembly
company that actually, the robots that I saw had no type of, you would never think it was a robot. It was a bunch of arms, but it's a robot. It had intelligence. It knew when to spot weld, when to measure. It knew how to do all these things. And they've been active on assembly lines now for years. And they're getting smarter and smarter, because now we're developing this artificial intelligence that's now beginning to reason. And when we cross that threshold, we're into a whole new
Well,
area.
I believe that's why Sweden, I think it's Sweden, Switzerland, I think it's Sweden, is experimenting with a fixed automatic income for people. You can call it social welfare if you want, but they're saying it's a fixed income. You're going to get it no matter what.
Right.
Which, as far as I'm concerned, if robots are going to replace jobs, they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to, and you're going to have to come up with a new word for it, because you can't call it welfare anymore, because you're going to have very able people who are kind of beside themselves about with learning new skills, and they need to make a living. Mm-hmm. And what they used to do, their skills are now obsolete because of robots.
Yeah.
And by not their choice. It wasn't their choice. So you're going to have to take care of these people. They have to be taken care of out of human compassion, out of human need, out of human care. And I know a lot of people out there might say, well, let them go find a job at Burger King. You can't live off Burger King.
No.
You can't live off McDonald's.
No.
You can't live off Jack in the Box.
And we're seeing the closing of
over 100 Walmarts.
And those are jobs. No matter what, those are jobs. And when
How
those
many jobs is that? I don't even know. That's at least 20,000 jobs.
Yeah, when those jobs start disappearing, where do people turn?
Yeah, and there was another big corporation that just announced a 20,000 person cut. I wish I could remember which one it was. It's starting to happen. And Wall Street, from last week to this week, the roller coaster's continuing.
Yeah. I'm not grasping why oil. No one's been able to. Why has oil become so cheap?
I think it's concerted. I do. I think there's a lot going into it, into the equation. And I'm gonna throw the word alien intelligence back at you again. Although I think it's just higher intelligence. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's a higher intelligence. What am I getting at? I'm getting at Nikola Tesla again, as I've said repeatedly on this show in the past. Nikola Tesla, who invented neon lights, who invented the remote control, who invented wireless technology before we even had it, who invented AC power to rival Edison's DC power. And that's what ticked off Edison to sink him.
Right.
Tesla also invented free energy. We don't need oil. We don't need gas.
But the trade-off is if you eliminate that, you eliminate jobs. Because of the oil crisis, when I say crisis right now, because of how cheap oil has become, that industry's been hit with job losses too.
So absolutely.
So
the coal industry as well.
Right. What do we do?
It's gonna listen. As I said on the last show, enlightenment comes with pain. Now the billionaires and gazillionaires are trying not to make it hit their pocketbook. They're trying to control it. They're trying to control solar panels. States are trying to get in the business of giving permits for solar panels and licenses and legislation, and it's BS. It's BS. You don't put these orders, these legislative orders, on emergent technology. It's like, as you said, I'm from Rhode Island. Rhode Island has this awful law. I'm going to shift gears a little bit, where I can't go into business and form a website and have Amazon affiliate links on my website because Rhode Island doesn't know, they're not getting any tax dollars off that.
Yeah, right.
Okay?
We knew that was
pardon my expression, but it makes the state lawmakers who passed that law a bunch of whores.
Yeah.
It really does. And they should be ashamed of themselves, and because they're taking opportunity away from their own people in a state that is next to the bottom in every important conceivable economic category. And they're taking more opportunity away. They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
What people have never understood in connecting the dots, when bureaucracies are formed in any government, they're formed for the specific reason of jobs. These are jobs. These are jobs that are given to people that helped get that particular politician elected. Now, it may not be the person that actually donated the money, but it's somebody in their family that they'll turn to and they'll say, you know what, I got a job for your daughter or your son or your nephew in the State Department or in the Department of Education. So they create these bureaucracies, and it's a place where they can just give away jobs and also waste our tax dollar.
Right.
See, the whole thing about entitlements, okay, some of them are needed to help those people that you spoke of earlier that really need help. There are people out there that will never be able to get out of their own way.
And that's not
that are sickly.
It's not their fault,
no.
and it's not for us to judge either.
No, it isn't. But it's our job to make sure that they're taken care
Exactly.
of. Okay, that's part of a Christian way and any way of life that you take care of when you can help somebody. Okay, I got that part of it. All right, but there's a certain part of that entitlement that's really wasteful. And we're always going to hear about the person that's taking their money and buying booze and doing that. That's such a small minority that it's inconsequential. But the way the rest of the government is run and the way it's currently run is a disaster. It's so wasteful that's why, going back to the Davos group, who's fearful of Trump, other people are fearful of Cruz, and people are fearful of Bernie Sanders, is because it's not going to be, at least I hope it's not going to be, the way things are. You see, recently, I got to give Cruz credit for a second. He recently came out, he's trying to win Iowa, and he still told them, I'm not for ethanol. I'm not for ethanol government subsidies. I don't care that your state needs it. I'm not for it, because he knows that that's all part of that
It allows farmers to sit back and not work.
Exactly. And here's a governor who's saying, no, we want that free money, bring it in. We want those subsidies.
Yeah, listen, when Obama first got into office, Cass Sunstein, remember that name?
An animal.
He's the one who led the charge with, okay, we're going to pay farmers not to work.
Right.
Okay, and the price of feed's going to go up. We're going to make it harder for cows to graze. Mm-hmm. We're going to raise the price of meat. I mean, he was very instrumental in kicking off all of the high food prices we have today. And again, that's the other thing that appalls me. People are okay with higher food prices. They're okay with lousy health insurance and higher food prices.
But Neil, what can they possibly do when you don't have a choice in this area? We have a choice of a couple of markets. We don't have much choices. It would be great if we could help those small, independently owned markets succeed and shop there. I try myself. My wife and I do try to go to those places that are locally owned and are independently owned, because
that's through the roof too.
Yeah. I know,
very expensive.
but better, if you're going to spend the money, better spend it there than into some monopoly. That's the way I feel about it. But getting back to my point about Cruz is, I admire him. He stuck to his guns.
Yeah, after they said they weren't going to endorse him because
they
of his
came out. He would be
stance.
terrible for Iowa. He said, I don't care. He said, those subsidies are wrong. And you know what? All we ever heard about were from the Democrat side about these subsidies to big business. Well, ethanol's big business, and guess what? It shouldn't be subsidized with our tax dollars. Let them stand on their own 2 feet or fail on their own 2 feet. But you look at the disaster we had with that technology that Obama backed with billions of dollars, and it was a total failure. Mm-hmm. That I can't remember. It was some green technology. There was I can't remember.
Yeah,
the
you're
name.
right.
Yeah, there was
the other thing of note that we should probably hit on. Mm-hmm. Amongst El Chapo, amongst his weapon cache.
Yes.
What did they find? But a Fast and Furious
bunch of them
gun.
Not
capable,
just one.
Hold on, but this particular one, capable of taking down a helicopter.
One shot.
One shot.
One shot. Taking out a tank.
That was Eric Holder / Obama.
Right.
Fast and Furious program. The gun was with El Chapo.
Right. How did it get there?
Who is the most feared.
5,000 deaths can be attributed to him. And Sean
he had Fast and Furious U.S. government guns.
Right.
Because of this president and his attorney general.
Right. Yeah. And where's his attorney general? Nowhere to be
found.
found.
He's on vacation.
Yeah, he's not.
But isn't that? I mean, this president, again, he said he was going to transform. I'm not going to blame him head on. Okay. Yeah. But he has done things. He has committed acts that are borderline, if not directly, treasonous. Including showing the TPP bill to the UN before he showed it to Congress.
Right.
Including the botch up with Fast and Furious. If that was Nixon, and Nixon came out and said, okay, I admit it, it was my program, a Mexican drug cartel has U.S. guns, they were firing on our border agents, he would be impeached all over again if it was Nixon.
Right.
But since it's Obama,
Yeah.
and the press won't talk about it, the things that matter, and shame on them, shame on the editors, shame on the program managers for not telling the people the truth. It's a shill. It's a total shill show.
It's always been chic to be part of the liberal side of the fence. I mean, it goes with the hypocrisy in Hollywood. I bring up the example of Galifianakis, the actor Galifianakis, refused to be in that third movie of, I forget what the title was, where he starred with Bradley Cooper.
The Hangover?
Hangover 3. He refused to be in that version of it because it was going to also co-star Mel Gibson. And he didn't like what Mel Gibson said in Drunken Stupor. But it was okay for him to be in the same movie with Mike Tyson, who raped a young woman and went to jail for it. Okay? Not because of what somebody said, because freedom of speech is freedom of speech. You don't have to agree with it. But that's the hypocrisy. Now, Hollywood is getting turned on its ear because it's seeing the alleged white hypocrisy that's going on. Now, I don't know how true that is.
I think, you know what, I've been following that a little bit. You know, it was led by Jada Pinkett Smith and Spike Lee.
Right.
But other black actors and actresses have come out and said no.
Yeah.
And what they don't realize, what Spike Lee doesn't realize, and Jada Pinkett Smith don't realize they're doing, they're actually costing, potentially, other black actors and actresses jobs in Hollywood. Because Hollywood is a finicky town.
That's right.
And it has nothing to do with color. It has everything to do with the money. It has everything to do with putting the right faces in the right jobs and the right positions and whatever formula is gonna work for bringing in ad dollars and all that. Has nothing to do with race. And you know what? I am not of the opinion that everyone should get a trophy.
That's another thing that kills me, is if they're so concerned about gender equality that they're talking about, they always talk about the money that women actors don't get, like the male actors, or gender equality, then why do we have a best actress and a best actor? Why isn't it just a whatever? Because
I mean,
we're down to our last 40 seconds.
They act as though someone like Sidney Poitier never won an Oscar, which he did.
No, he was the first.
Years ago.
Yeah, years ago. Yeah, he was the first.
And Roots won.
Right, Roots won big.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but I think that, like you said, art is something. It's very hard to give an award to art. Art is very, subjective, rather than objective. Like sports, you can turn around and say the guy had a higher batting average. It's black and white. Art, you
can't claim racism. Look at our president.
Right.
He's in.
He's in. Anyways, we're down to our last 9 seconds. I want to thank you for watching, and I want you to remember, that's Bogey. I'm Dave. When you see us out in public. Thanks for joining us.
You just like to wear a mask with my face on it.
Exactly. I aspire to be
right.
you. Okay.